Hi, everyone. I want to introduce you to Photopea. So, Photopea is a free web-based photo editing tool that we're going to use in digital arts to help us create work. So, where we might have typically used Photoshop, which is an Adobe product in the classroom, at home on our Chromebooks or laptops or other devices, we can use Photopea. And the great thing about Photopea, like I said, is that it's web-based, so almost anyone can access it, and it's free, so it's not something that we have to pay for. There are tons of great tools in here, and it does look at times very similar to Photoshop. So I want to run you through some of the tools and setup of Photopea. So when you navigate to the website itself, so you're going to go to photopea.com, and I'll have the link for you in Schoology. A screen is going to show up that asks you how you want to get started. So it's going to ask, do you want a new project? Do you want to open an existing project from your computer? Do you want to use a template? We're going to start with opening a project from our computer. I've already asked you to download a file onto your Chromebook or laptop that you're going to open. So we're going to click on Open from Computer. And here I'm going to search for Intro to Photopea. This is what we're going to open, and I'm going to press Open. And you'll see that what pops up is the page or canvas that we want to take a look at. Okay. Over on the left-hand side of our screen, we have our tools. And what you'll notice is that if you hover over the tools, the name of the tool and the tool shortcut will pop up. So for example, the very first tool is the Move tool. And in parentheses, next to the words Move tool, you'll see a little V. That means that I can do two things to select this tool. I can click on it, and now I have this tool selected. If you notice, it has a little bit of a darker background than the other tools. That's how I know it's selected. Or I can simply click V on my keyboard because V is the shortcut for Move tool. If I go down, I have the Rectangle Select tool. Same thing. The little M in parentheses tells me that I can select the Rectangle Select tool by pressing M on my keyboard. So if I simply press M right now, you're going to notice that now this tool is slightly darker. Let's keep looking. Here's our quick selection tool. You might remember this from Photoshop. So W is the shortcut. If I press W, now I have this tool selected. The other thing that you might notice is that your cursor changes. So if you look inside of this red circle, if I have the Rectangle Select tool, I have a little crosshairs, a little cross. When I have the Move tool, I have my cursor. So as you use different tools, you're going to notice that they might have different cursors, okay? On the right-hand side of our window, we have our panels, just like in Photoshop if you're used to Photoshop. So the panel we're going to pay most attention to today is called Layers. You might also notice that there's an ad to the right. That's because this is a free program. So in order for them to generate revenue or money, they need to show commercials or ads. Sometimes I like to just X them out if it is distracting to me. So we're going to spend some time today looking at our layers. Up here, we have different properties. And these properties change depending on which tool I select. So as I select tools, you'll notice that the properties up here adjust and change. And we'll talk about that as we talk about different tools. Okay? So I have an image right here that's made up of a whole bunch of different shapes. And I'm zooming in and out of my canvas or my page by using my trackpad, or you can press Command and plus or Command and minus on your keyboard. Okay. so I want to basically change where these shapes are on the page, maybe hide some of them, change the size of some of them, and rearrange them to make a more interesting piece of artwork. There are two things that I think are going to really support you and help you to be successful that you're going to want to do first before you get started. And they are to select the auto select, so it'll be selected if it has a blue check, and the transform controls. I have a feeling that these default to not selected, so go ahead and take a moment to select them now. Now I can take the move tool, the very top tool, click on an image or one of these shapes. I can drag it around. I can rotate it. And I can also change the size. I can stretch and distort these shapes, or if I want to keep the scale of the shape the same, but just change the size, I'm going to hold down Shift. And when I do that, the scale is going to stay the same, but just the size of the shape is going to change. After I finish, I can decide, do I like the change that I've made, or maybe I don't like it. And if I don't, I can step backwards. So I went to Edit, Step Backwards. And notice the file menu I'm using is not at the very, very top of your computer screen. It's inside the web browser itself. So I can step backwards. And I can keep stepping backwards. And now maybe I've decided, oh, I only want to change it a little bit. And I'm happier with that change. When I'm finished making a change, you'll notice that you need to either click the check up here to confirm that the change is completed, or press the return or enter key on your keyboard. I want to show you something else that's happening here. Take a look at the layers panel. I have this purple sort of brush stroke selected. And if I look at the layers panel, there are little dots around the thumbnail here in layer 7. That's telling me that this lives on layer 7. Okay, what's a layer? Well, a layer, Photoshop files are created using layers. Each element or asset on this file is on a different layer. You can see as I'm clicking them on the right-hand side, different layers are being selected. So this one's on layer 4. This one's on layer 6. This one's on layer 10. And I can build my image by building layers. And they're in the exact order that they appear now. So for example, this purple brush stroke can go in front or on top of things because it's layer 7, layer 8, 9, 10, and all the way down to 31 or below it. But if I look at layer 6 through 1, it's going to be behind those because of how it's layered, where it is in the layer panel. Now, if I can change where it is in layers, I can adjust this. So I can take this layer and drag it and drop it to fit in a new spot. So now it'll change the order of this shape. I have a lot of things going on here. There are a lot of different shapes, a lot of colors. I might decide that I don't want all of these shapes and colors and things happening. So I can hide layers. Take a look at this little eyeball right here on the left-hand side. I can click these on and off. And by doing that, I'm hiding the layer. I'm not deleting it. These things are not gone forever, but instead they're just hidden for now. And then I can decide, do I want these elements in my artwork or don't I want these elements in my artwork? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these things. I'm going to just choose ones that I like or are most interesting to me. And then I get to spend some time creating what we call a composition. A composition is the way things look on the page, different elements put together that create the artwork. So I can now decide how I want things to look. I'm going to make some of them bigger. I'm going to overlap some of these elements. Like if I want these polka dots to be on top, I'm going to slide it all the way up to the top. And when I hold close to the top, you'll see the layers panel is sliding up. And this might take some practice. Oh, it didn't actually do it. Let's try again. This might take some practice doing. And now it's on top. I can also decide that I want some pieces or elements to hang off the side of the page. Like maybe I only want to see that much of this piece. And by doing this, I'm creating a sort of digital collage, making choices about where things belong. I don't love that this star and this other yellow piece are overlapping because it's hard to see. So maybe I'll put this hanging off here, and I might decide that I'm finished. Okay. Once I'm done, I have a couple options for saving my work. Oh, before that, let me show you something. Maybe I want more than one of these flowers. Once I click it, because I have auto select, it's auto selected. Layer 3 is highlighted. I know it's layer 3. And what I can do is I can press Command J. And now I have a copy. I have layer 3 copy and I have layer 3. And now I have 2 of these to play with. So you can also copy shapes. I didn't delete anything. Nothing was deleted. If I ever wanted to come back to some of these other shapes, they're here. I didn't actually delete them. I just hid them from view for now. So that's very important. I now am going to save my work. So I'm going to go up to File. And I have 2 options. And the first one that we're going to do to start with, and we'll talk more about this later, is Save as PSD. And what that does for us is it saves this file as a Photoshop file that can be edited in photopea or Photoshop later. And you'll see that it came to the bottom of my browser, and now it should either be in my downloads or it'll be in my downloads, or I can drag it to my desktop. Give it a try. I can't wait to see what you create.